Effectively, Trump is trashing the post-World War II and the post-Cold War international system. He's basically saying, look, America has given and given and basically been ripped off by its allies. And I would say that's completely accurate on the defense front. What you do about it is another question. When you look at the EU, I mean, the EU was created as a protectionist bloc. It was created on the presumption of high tariffs. The United States used to be a high tariff country until 1944. So the Europeans are doing to the Americans what the Americans used to do to the Europeans. This has to end. I don't see anything wrong with that. That China rips off the United States with high tariffs. Why should the United States put up with that? I don't see why they should. In other words, what he's doing by use of the tariffs are a bludgeon. They're not an endpoint. They're a bludgeon, a means to an end. And it's a brutal economic means to an end. But frankly, the Europeans say, oh, we'll put up our tariffs even more against you. Well, you can slit your throat and jump down a well, but it's not going to prove anything. The Europeans say, oh, we're going to have lots of money spent on defense. How long will it take for the Europeans to start building defense industries all over again at a new level of technology? I mean, we'll be a decade away. And then all this warmongering talk about sending troops into Ukraine. The Russians won't allow troops in Ukraine if they're trying to make a peace settlement. This whole business is about keeping NATO out of Ukraine. And it's bizarre because the British scarcely have an army left. The Air Force is having to deal with patrolling the Baltic Sea, patrolling the North Sea, patrolling the Houthis in the Gulf along with the US Air Force. We don't have anything spare. So there's an air of unreality about European policy on these questions. Now, you're fixing on the unreality of Trump's end of it, but it's a balance between the two.